Welcome to the Backyard Professor Chess videos, where we have a ball looking at fantastic chess. Let's do some more chess miniatures. Look, if you guys want to, you're more than welcome to share these videos with your friends on all the other social media. Facebook, Twitter, whatever. And let them come in and have some fun with us watching these fantastic miniatures that I'm finding. I've had a viewer patron who just recently told me they started chess 4 years ago and now they're rated at 2300 because he was been watching my videos as well as his own studies and so forth. So I am humbled and honored to be able to be part of your climb to such a fantastic progress. Congratulations, way to go, dude. I can't even get that high. I'm jealous as all get out. But let's jump on this. This is going to be Niestadt, and we don't have the name of his opponent. It was a simultaneous, I don't know how many boards he was playing, but it was played in 1950. So let's see what happens here with the e4, e5. And now the bishop c4, so he's going to bump us up into a Gioco Piano. Yeah, it's always a good opening. It's an old opening. It's a trusted opening. There's a lot of information and ways to play this still that we haven't exhausted. The center is being contested, but of course. And now, what do you do when your center is being contested in the opening? You there in the back, raised your hand? Yes, that's correct. Keep developing. Keep an eye on the center, but keep developing. That is truly correct. And now, boy, Black's getting tough, isn't he? Now he's attacking the center again. And notice, immediately, what move are we on? 4. And Black has eliminated both of White's central pawns. Just keep in mind what is happening. That's always an important thing to do. So White strikes back. Queen takes d4. Sometimes you say, yeah, go get him. And the other times you kind of cringe and say, ooh, queen out too early, possibly. Let's see what happens. This is an instructive game in this response. Now, observe Black's action. He does move the knight again. Now, that's the third knight move, you guys. Look at the effect. The White development is fabulously stronger, much further along. So, this means White could truly coordinate an attack and be successful. So you want to be careful about moving just one piece several times in the center if you can at all help it. And here comes yet another White piece developing, pinning the knight, but Black is going to undo the pin. Notice there's no attack per se as such yet. He is still bringing out his minor pieces. Bravo. And now he castles. Yeah. I mean, you have to castle, but he's too undeveloped to castle just yet by declaring what side of the board he's going on so fast. With White's extra development, now White can coordinate and put together a kingside attack if that's the course of action that White wants to do. Watch, though. King safety first. Now see, it's hard to fault an opponent for castling so early, but he castles queenside. So now it's full pedal to the metal, let's get it up and go, attack from both sides, right? Now that the kings are safe, let's boogie. And Black is trying to hurry to catch up on development. That's only a temporary advantage at this point. If you willy-nilly and play stupid moves like this, your opponent will catch up to you. So you want to be careful with that. Don't Mickey Mouse around. Time is of the essence. You castled opposite. You better get hopping on it. Right? That is the general rule. And what do we see? Queen h4. Okay, so white setting this up. Let's see the action still continue. d6, solidify the center. And now bishop d3, taking a target at that h7 pawn. Yeah, we've seen this before. We will see it now, and we will see it in other games. This is a great pattern to grasp and understand. Possible because white has the better development at this point. So take advantage of that. h6, no, not the best way to do this. Nope, 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 that's too passive. Great lessons in these chess miniatures for us to begin to grasp the overall patterns and what to do and what not to do. That doesn't work for a very important reason. Again, I'm going to emphasize this: the better development of white, and therefore he can sacrifice. And he does break up the king side. And you go, man, that's so tough to sacrifice a piece. It is. I empathize with you. Yes, I promise I'm in the same boat. But observing the effects of the sacrifice of pieces to get to the king side attacks in so many games gives us the courage and the knowledge that this really is a splendid way to do this, so that in the long run, hopefully, we do improve our own chess. Look at the openness of the king now. Yeah, okay, so what do? Hey, you're there at the doorstep. Proceed. No caution. Proceed. Take that pawn. Uh-oh. If you're not swallowing hard for black right now and thinking, oh crap, dude, you're not grasping what's going on. This is really important. And now, knight to b4. Okay. Knight to g5. We've seen this pattern before. The queen and knight make a superb pair, especially with the cooperation and coordination of the bishop. This is looking bad for black. Yeah? But knight is able to eliminate a superb helping attack piece here by taking the bishop. Now the rook will retake on the d3, and now the bishop comes to f5. So, see? Look at what black has done now. He's eliminated, and it took him 2 moves to do that though, but he's eliminated a support piece in the attack of the king, and now he's able to put his own bishop dominating that file, or that diagonal. So, not bad. Come on, give credit where credit's due. That's not bad. However, the rook has bumped up with tempo, and so putting it over here on g3 makes perfect sense. You're in a kingside attack if you're playing white, and look at the discovered check coming up. The knight ahead of the rook, you gotta move that king. Man, if you're black, you've either got to put something here or here, or get that king off that file, because a discovered check is really brutal. That's even the better discovered. Yeah, duh. Look at the move. Forking the queen and rook with a discovered check. So pay attention to things like this. Let's see if black catches it, shall we? Bishop to g6. Black catches it. Okay. We've got a decent defense. What do you do as white? I already showed you the move. You're in full attack mode. And you're saying, well, he's not fully developed. Bring his other rook out. That's not bad. That's a good idea. Don't let me come across as criticizing that. But there's a better move. There really is a better move. Go ahead and pop that knight right there. Yeah, you're in attack mode, so that's not hurt. And it's at that point that black resigns, and you ask, why? Because, again, the queen and the knight. Now they no longer have the backup of a bishop, but they've got the backup of the rook. Yeah. So the attack has shifted from a diagonal to a file. But it's still a very powerful attack. What is making this attack work so well, you guys? He has 1, 2, 3 pieces in the attack. He was developed better early on. So he was able to get more force here in a coordinated effort than his opponent could for defense. Right? So what happened? You go, wait a minute, the pawn can take the knight. That's true, the pawn can take the knight, but then you've got check, and it's curtains. Right? Because then you go here and you can checkmate in a variety of ways. Yeah, you can put the rook over, or you can, but actually you can put the queen to there. So, I mean, great game, but hold it, don't change that channel. Don't even imagine you're going to go away unless just to grab a snack first and then come back, or your favorite pizza, or your favorite hoagie sandwich or whatever, because the Backyard Professor has a lot more chess games for you. Hold on. In this second game, we have Edward Lasker and a gentleman named England. This was played in 1913. Edward Lasker was a very good chess player. I mean, he played all of the chess greats, the Bogoljubovs, the Spielmans, the Rubinsteins, the Nimzoviches, the Alekins, etc. And he never really attained the heights of a lot of those guys, but he was superb, and he had a very good chess book that he wrote in the 1940s on chess, explaining his understanding of chess, that ended up selling over 40,000 copies, which back then was really decent for a chess book. But let's see how Edward Lasker handles this. And he always played a good game of chess, even though at times the really truly greats sincerely completely manhandled him. He hung in there and he kept going. You can see he's developing very, very well. He understood chess quite well. He was able to play chess quite well. And now, once again, striking at the center here. So this will be interesting. Lasker, not to be confused with Emanuel Lasker, the world champion. This is Edward Lasker. Lasker takes the pawn. So this is going to be a tough contest. We can see he ignores the challenge of the black in the center and he makes his own. So this will make it very interesting, and now he comes right back. Kind of interesting idea there. Now it's black's turn to take the central pawn of Lasker. So Lasker says, I'm going to go ahead and castle. It's really interesting castling when you've got two really powerful centrally posted knights there. That's quite interesting, yeah? Now the knight will exchange the knight. Knight takes c3, and Lasker, instead of taking with the b toward the center, which is something that Nimzovich had a predilection for, Lasker instead opens up the d file. The pawn still does affect the same square, but rather than the b file being open, retaking this way opens up the d file. We'll see if he uses that. It's kind of an interesting, there's always been an argument. And now, okay, so his opponent is simply eliminating all of the knights. Very interesting. We haven't seen this in any chess miniatures up to this point. I mean, I'm sure it's happened several times, but this is the first time in a game where we have seen not only a wide open board, but no knights. So this is going to be interesting to see how this works out. Queen will come to c5, centralizing the queen, but it can't be a one-army fight. Black really has to develop more fast than run his queen around, if that's what he's thinking of doing. Lasker was good enough that he's going to trounce him if he's not careful. And sure enough, take the file. Rooks belong on open files. Check to the king, yeah. And now he doesn't move his king. Okay, that means he can still castle. So he develops. Yes, the bishop is pinned at this point. It's not a drastic pin, however. Lasker will bring his bishop back to d3. And now here comes the pawn center bump. Okay, this is going to get rough. Okay, now here comes Lasker with the bishops. Now, wide open board should favor bishops. This is going to be a great bishop battle. Distant attacks. Long distances. So this will be interesting to see. At this point, the bishops of white are obviously better than the bishops of black. Black has to hustle. Yeah? Can you see that? Black has to hustle. And then... Okay, well, so see, he developed with tempo. How many queen moves is that? Black's falling behind. It's going to get exceedingly dangerous if he's not careful. Attack the queen again. Absolutely. Because that also puts your bishop on a better square. Fundamentally so. Hit that target. Target consciousness. So now queen comes to f6. Chasing the queen all around, and see, now he's got the central pawn. The center is blasted wide open, and who is dominating the center? Lasker is, yeah. That makes a difference, you guys. This is huge. And now c6. And now queen e4. And now bishop e6. Okay, now he's getting his bishop in. Uh-oh, okay. Uh-oh. There's the rook lift. Man, keep your eyes open now if your opponent does a rook lift. It's critical to understand that is the beginning, that could be a beginning, I'll put it that way, of a brutal kingside attack. The king has not castled yet. He's been trying to, well, he's been getting his queen chased around. So is that going to play a part in this game? Let's take a look. Bishop comes to c5. Great hit on the rook. Yeah. Bishop comes to e5. A better hit on a more valuable target. Target consciousness. Ed Lasker, ladies and gentlemen. Great game so far. He ignores the threat, and it's a good threat. I mean, you don't want to lose the rook, but he comes up with a stronger threat of his own and a better position for his bishop. Man, that's good chess for us to study out, right? Excellent, excellent. Bishop e5, queen will come over here to h6, rook g3. Again, and we've seen this, so let's be cognizant of it. The rook lift, and then over here. Now, it's true that black has not castled. That does not mean it's not a great thing to do to put the rook over to here, and now you can get your other rook over into here. You have two central open files. So you could really get into a winning position here really, really quite fast. Bishop will bump back to f8. So, see, black's not going to castle. Black's just not going to castle. And Lasker decides to take the d file instead of the e file. Ooh, and now black castles right into the mouth of the lion. Holy shish kebab, he's going to go the queenside castle. So now this means, blam, go full bore. What do we see? Blam! Queen takes c6, check! You gotta love these miniatures, man. Would you have done that? I'd have had to look at it real carefully. And if you can't see what Lasker's doing, you're asking, what? There is no way that's the right move. Let's just watch. Bishop takes c6. There goes the queen. A screaming queen sacrifice, man. You can sacrifice the queen. You had a better development, which translates into a better coordination and cooperation of your pieces. And now you have this beautiful checkmate, the bishop scissor. Fantastic stuff, isn't it? So again, to do a brief recap, better development. Less moving around of a single piece 4 or 5 times. Get all your pieces out there and you can coordinate easier. Black actually, I believe, facilitated White's checkmate here because he early on exchanged both knights, well, all 4 knights, but in the process, it took away 2 of Black's developed pieces. He was behind in development anyway, so to exchange the developed pieces already was a mistake. It gave Lasker the chance to develop better and coordinate better. Don't even think about it. I have another one coming up right now. All right, let's do this third game. I'm feeling my hair start flopping all over, so let's do the Ric Flair look, shall we? Woo! Yeah, baby. Yeah, baby. Oh, yeah. There we go, Ric Flair style. I'll call myself the Backyard Professor Flair, whatever. Shut up and get to the game, cowboy. This next game, though really, is by Schulten and Horwitz in 1846. Now, before you get all excited and ask, what in the heck would I watch such an old game for? Let's just watch it. Because even the old games, yes, they don't play like we do today. Yes, they're not cognizant of all the fabulous inventions and advances of our Fischers and our Kasparovs and our Bronsteins and our Alekins. I agree with all of that, but that does not mean there's not instruction in these games. Let's look at the action. What? B5? Really? So the bishop will take b5, and you say, see, idiotic chess. Just hang on with me. Hang on with me, will you? Let's just watch. This is going to startle you. I promise it's really fun to see this. Look, bump up, support the center, right? Okay, that's not bad. Okay? Okay, just, I'm going to make my case here. Look, c6. I understand. Look, he's putting the question to the bishop, and he's supporting the center, and he's fighting for the center. Okay, so not bad for 1846. I mean, you got to give credit where credit's due. And bishop to c4, of course. And now here comes queen b6. Boy, we've seen moves like this. Queen will come to e2. We've seen moves like that. Now look, the central thrust. Hey, this is 1846 chess, and they're looking really, really good, right? Okay, okay, now... Hold it. I did that wrong. Wrong. Hold on, dude. Don't mess this up. This is a fun game. Yeah, E takes D5 instead. Sorry about the little mix-up from the Backyard Professor. Now, the center has some tension, and White has begun to release some of the tension. Black still has tension. Watch what Black does. He castles. Okay. We're going, okay, yeah. I'm with you so far. Knight e4. What a fantastic knight move. Seriously. Centralization of the knight. Challenging the central knight. Again, who is a guardian of the black king. Understand that. So, but he does swap the knight. Knight will take e4. D will take e4. Okay, so we've got a really good game here. And now starts coming the lightning. Kablam! Bishop takes f2. Ooh, check. Queen will take f2. Queen. Ooh. Kind of sneaky. Queen to b4. That's a good move, man. Check. Very interesting. So bishop comes to d2. And actually, has black kind of goofed it here? Because doesn't it appear to you that he's actually helping white with his development here? Right? Yeah. Interesting to see. White gets to bring out a piece with tempo. That's always important. But gave him a bishop. Queen takes c4. Queen comes to f3. Let's see if the hive starts buzzing. Here comes f5, and he takes f5. Not much of an attack. But wait, the bishop develops with tempo here. Ooh, kind of interesting. Queen b3. Queen, come on, put it right, dude. Queen b3. Wow. Really interesting defense, isn't it? Blam! Queen f1 check! Would you have saw that move? Yeah, right. Go back and pause the video at that last position. Are you kidding me? That's a fantastic move. That is absolutely staggering awesome. Queen f1 check. This is why we love chess miniatures. I am not kidding. Queen sacrifice. There we go. Bishop d3 double check. From the bishop. Notice the discovered check. Again, the discovered check and discovered attack. Rather than take the pawn, he goes here to double check because that puts the king in the nightmare position of getting mated. You gotta love that, man. The classic queen sacrifice to deflect the defender, the king himself, to put him on a different aisle, to put him in a double check and then a checkmate. That's fun stuff. That is great chess. 1846, you guys. That's pretty awesome. I've got another one for you. Hang on. All right, let's come right back up to 1920 in this game with Bogoljubov and Rubinstein. Yes, that is Akiba Rubinstein. By the 1920s, Rubinstein was solid steel. And so was Bogoljubov. We don't give him enough credit because of his unfortunate complete thrashing from Alekin. And so we've always had the impression that Bogoljubov is not that good of a player. That's not true. However, Rubinstein was the player to beat. He was phenomenal. Korchnoi carried Rubinstein's endgame studies with him for decades, studying them. That's what made Korchnoi so doggone powerful, who challenged Karpov for the world championship in, what was it, the 1970s, after Fischer had disappeared, and just barely lost to Karpov, of all people. So Rubinstein was very influential. So was the literature that he produced. Rubinstein bumps to the center immediately. That's true. It's not a permanent night outpost yet, but this is not meant to be. This is a direct attack of the center. Not necessarily for positional considerations. Bog just takes the central pawn. Yeah, we've seen that before. Rubinstein takes the central pawn. We've almost seen this exact same position before just a couple of games ago, didn't we? So this is really getting tense now. Bog takes the knight in this one, however. And Rubinstein takes the bishop. So, we have a situation where Bog has lost the bishop pair. Rubinstein has the bishop pair. We also have a position, and this is a temporary imbalance. Silman mentions this, so does Yusupov. Yes, his knights are centrally located very beautifully, but it's not going to be a permanent situation. If Rubinstein can catch up in an open position like this, the pawns are not clogging the center, and he gets his bishops out, then Rubinstein could very well dominate this game. So let's keep watching what happens. Bog does a surprise move. Early in the game, fundamentally owning the center, and he already attacks. Blam! He takes the weak pawn. Knight takes f7. Watch Rubinstein's reaction here. What would you do? Me? I'd have taken the knight. Rubinstein instead. What a great move! Pin the other knight to the king and hit the knight. And you go, that was really quite stupid, because he's just going to take the rook. And you go, yeah, well, hold on. He got the knight. So Rubinstein puts check to the king, and Bog moves the king. He doesn't want to exchange queens. He moves the king. So there's going to be no castling. This can affect the usefulness of that rook. So let's keep our eye on whether Bog can use that rook or not, and whether Rubinstein has just handed Bog a nasty situation. And here we come. Isn't that interesting? Just a couple of moves ago, we saw two fabulously centered knights, white. Now we see an astonishingly powerful queen and knight of black. And white's knight is way off here out in the middle of flippin' nowhere, USA, or Russia, or South Africa, wherever you want to put him, Australia. He's in the outback hunting kangaroo, enjoying a brew, you know. This is a remarkably interesting position. It's a remarkable, interesting flip and exchange, isn't it, of who is where. Now here comes the queen side of Rubinstein. Bog is going to tickle the queen. Queen's going to come to f5. Bishop's going to go to g5. Oh, nice setup. Look at this. Bumps the h-pawn. He's not necessarily going to do a pawn storm. He does that to give his bishop a solid base. That's not bad. That ain't bad right there. g6. Make sure his queen is not out hanging. Support that bishop twice. That's kind of interesting. Fianchetto hit the knight. Grab a good diagonal. So now they're both really starting to get a good development going on here. This is going to get tense real quick. Bog sees the open e-file. Check. No, he can't castle, but that's no reason not to involve your other rook in a very strong position. This is nice. Rubinstein's going, wow, does this guy ever stop? Knight e6 blocking. Now we see that the knight is pinned. Can he get to an attack on the knight? He doesn't need to. He's going to bump h5. G will take. Rook will take. And now we see Bog has an h-file, although it's only semi-open, and an e-file. Interesting, Bog couldn't castle. Rubinstein can't castle. But Bog's position appears to be better because of his much more active rooks. He has the rook pair. Yes, Rubinstein has the bishop pair, but Bog has the rook pair, and they are not idle. Notice how he has deliberately played to emphasize his rooks. That's a great lesson. I'm serious. That is a great lesson. Bishop will take h8. Finally, get rid of the knight. Queen will come to b4. Put the much better position on the queen, yeah? You know, if you're wondering, well now, okay, well I'm fully developed. I'm over here. What do I do? Why not put the queen on a much better position? Look at that diagonal. Touching the pawn, yes, it's supported, but keeping the eye on the queen side and yet influencing the king side, that's a good move because look at what's here. Yeah, look at what's here. Checkmate next move against the great Rubinstein. Bog has a fabulous position here. In fact, it's so good, he's forced Rubinstein to press the pawn. Yeah! And now look at the incredible movement of Bog's queen. Now he moves over here. This is really excellent to see. You kind of go, wow, Bog, you're playing a heck of a game. Bishop d8? You're playing such a tremendous game? And you do something funny looking like that? Don't be too judgmental. That's the move of the game. This is incredible how Bog does this. Queen comes to g6. Let's watch. Rook to h6. True, it's not an open file, but it is a file, and that's a good way to get rid of that little lady. Very nice. It's so good, Rubinstein has to take it because the queen has nowhere else valuable to go. So Bog is really giving Rubinstein a game right now. Knight takes the d8. And what do you do? What do you do? Queen h5 check. And here he resigns. Of course, because, again, and notice he never used the E file with his rook. And yet, it's the reason he resigns. Is that not incredible? So, the power of the file, he didn't even have to run up and down on it with the rook. He utilized the H file, the partial open H file, but that E file ends the game. Isn't that incredible? That's a fun game. But I've got another one for you. No kidding, true story. These can go on endlessly, and I love them. And I appreciate the fact that you guys are enjoying them. That's what makes this whole chess circus so enjoyable. Go grab some cotton candy and come back because I've got another game coming up. You ready for some more? This next game is sheer poetry. This was played by Atwood and Wilson in 1798. And I know, the first thing in your mind, mine too. However, let's see what they do with the Philidor defense. This game is sheer poetry. It is so phenomenal. It is amazing. The other option is to push the queen pawn. This is still considered a variation of the Philidor defense. We shall see what happens. And they bump the f5. Yeah, I know. Never the f5 so early. This is one of the reasons why, what we're about to see. He takes the e-pawn. Yes, open up the center. There are weaknesses in Black's camp right now. Don't kid yourself. However, Black ain't gonna take it laying down. You hear me? And then he goes to knight g5. Excellent move. d5. 1798 chess, you guys. That's not bad. That's pretty good. Here we go. But look at him push the pawn. E6. Uh-oh. Here we go. Okay, hold on. We gotta stop this little rascal. White's getting too frisky. White's getting too frisky. Knight will take E4. Watch this. Oh, wow! Knight takes a central pawn? Is this like a knight sacrifice? Indeed it is. Let's keep watching the action. This is remarkable. Does White exchange the queens? What would you do? Come on, we've seen patterns here in these chess miniatures that make them so electrifying and fun. What's the actual pattern that we know should happen? Queen H5, check, yeah! Now we've got an interesting situation. He forces the G-pawn up, and now Queen E5. This is one of the values of, instead of exchanging the queens, now look at the maneuvering and where the white queen is. That is a startlingly strong position for the queen here. You think I'm kidding? Let's watch. Rook G8. Bishop kablam takes the knight. We've seen that bishop bump that diagonal. Whether there's a knight there or in other games there's been a pawn push and the bishop just zings up there and takes the pawn, breaking up black's position by sacrificing a couple of pieces to change the board position. You can then coordinate some of your other pieces together. That's what these miniatures are also showing us. So we need to pay attention to that. I'm just pointing that out to you in case you missed it. Bishop, of course, will take the bishop. H6, yeah, of course. And now, no, neither one's castled yet. I agree, it's 1798, but grabs the open file, tickle the queen, say, "Darling, shall we dance?" And the queen says, "No, I'm a married woman. I'm not a little hussy." So now look at this development, man. They're playing phenomenal chess here. This is really good. B5, yeah, you've got to at least take away the influence of the bishop. If you can, white will have none of it. Notice the difference in the position here. That stupid little pawn right there is giving white a little bit of a headache, yeah? Because this compared to this. Much better here, right? He technically doesn't back out of the game. He maintains that really good diagonal. That's important to look at. That's cool. Now, look at what black's doing, man. Yeah, go jump those pawns into there. You bet. Go on the queen side. That's not bad chess, you guys. Knight will take that dastardly little pawn. Yeah, that pawn's been a pain. And here it comes. Here it comes, man. He got his bishop. Nice. Now, why would white do that and lose the bishop? Why not bump the c pawn and maintain that bishop? Because let's be realistic. That's a screaming diagonal to have. But look at what black's doing. He's got it covered. And he's got the pawn blockaded. So does white know what he's doing? That's the question. Knight f6, check! Forking the king and the rook. Really interesting. King f8. Knight will take the rook, but of course, king will take the knight. And now, rook comes check. Phenomenal! Blam! A central file, the rook is on it. In this particular instance, he's utilizing that file by going up and down it. Check. What is this? Well, I mean, it's a rook sacrifice, of course. But what is the principle involved? What is the tactic? It is deflecting the defender. Because now he's moved the queen to the d8. And now the queen, or no. The pawn goes to e7. Discovered check. Fantastic! What a move! The power of the discovery. That's a great game. I mean, for 1798, that is some fun stuff. So anyway, there are more of your chess miniature video games to watch and enjoy and learn from. These have good, compact, powerful lessons for us. The nice thing that we really do enjoy, I think, at least I do, with all of these chess miniatures, is the tactics, the setups for tactics. And that's why some of the moves are so odd. Rather than opening up an escape, you notice because white did not respond to the black pawns, but he continued bringing his pieces into the attack, that he got the attack. If he would have reacted to, uh-oh, my bishop's in danger, then he wouldn't have got that attack. So, see, another lesson. That's kind of cool. You don't have to always respond to your opponent's threats. Find stronger threats of your own. Fantastic stuff. So, anyway, be good. Do happy. Have well. Think straight. Rejoice. Live life to its fullest. Have a happy day. Stay safe. And I will see you in the next Backyard Professor Chess video.